So on top of just changing the height and width in a single place, you would also want to be able to change the size of material in a single place. So you could hop into this sketch here. Let's say we change this to 2 by 2. We can see that now our sketch is not to the outside of our tube, and we also get some weird stuff going on with the flat bar. That side's right, but this side will also have that same problem, because this dimension should be half the distance of our thickness. So we would then also have to hop into our original sketch, change this number, and then it would repopulate. So the other problem with that being the wrong number is it would also not be parallel from top to bottom. So it'd be very noticeable. Even if it's not extremely noticeable in CAD, at first glance, that's the problem that comes up, is you're no longer parallel. Which this would look a little bit worse if the point was continued out here and be a little bit more exaggerated in the real world. So it would be more like out here. So you would have to make sure to remember to adjust this number, which you could easily forget to do. So ideally you would want to have that derived at the same time. So for that, what we can do is go into equations, and we can start adding some variables. So we could add steel height. Let's set that to 1. We could do steel width, set that to 2. And then let's say steel offset. Let's set that to the steel height divided by 2. Okay. Now what we can do is go into our tube. We can say we want this to equal global variables. Let's say that's the steel height. Let's set this equal to, let's get out of that, it's not popping up, equal to the width. So now you can see that has the formula linked. This one apparently I must have exited out before I hit OK. Steel height, check. There we go. And then the other place that we need to use those numbers, let's go into our original sketch. And this number we can set equal to our offset. Exit sketch. Okay. Now, if we want to change the steel size, you can go into equations and you could say, let's make this 3-inch wide by 2. Okay. And now there's one more place that we need to use it, which is what that error came up. Our piece of flat bar, now when we cut the radius, it doesn't touch. So you would also want to go into this boss extrude, edit feature, and instead of just doing it to the 2 inches, you would want to hit equals steel width. Now you won't get any arrows because this radius cut will have something to actually cut. And then in order to maintain your offset style, you could also, in your original sketch, set this as another equation that takes the material thickness plus a number to equal your offset. So let's go into Tools, Equations, middle offset. Let's that equal to steel height plus, let's set that to 1 for now. Oops. Back to equations. And then, let's see, actually, middle offset plus material. Oop, can't have the plus in there. Maybe we can. Let's see. Steel height plus middle offset. And instead of using steel height here, we can just set this to 1. Okay, so now what we have is this middle offset is how far we're going to offset. And this is the variable that we're actually going to use. And this takes the middle offset value plus our steel height to get our offset. So what we can do is say OK, go into our sketch. This guy we can say equals to middle offset plus material, exit sketch. So let's make that a little bit more noticeable by going into equations. Let's set this to 2. Say OK. Okay, so now we have a larger offset, and if we change the material size now, Tools, Equations, let's say we make this steel height down to 1 inch. We will still have a offset there. So that's one way you can make it so that your offset gets larger also when you are changing your material size. Another thing you could add to your equation so that all the dimensions are done in one place is leg height equals 32, leg width equals 16. Say OK. And then in this original sketch, we can say this is equal to leg height, and this is equal to leg width. And now everything about this leg that I want to adjust can be adjusted here. And then this automatic rebuild, if you unclick that, you can change all of these and then hit OK. If you have this checked, then each one of these that you change at a time, it will try to rebuild, which can be a little bit annoying. So if it's rebuilding each time you change one of these numbers, just unclick that and make sure that when you exit, you hit rebuild.